So we spend a lot of time living to work. And our Western culture reinforces and rewards us for being productive, for being first, for being best, and for producing more. And further, that challenge is that our health, our safety, and our security is tied to our work, right? Like all of that, those support systems are tied to our employment. And we justify this work because we need to make a living, of course we do, and because we may love what we do or we may not, and that's fine too. We also just need a job. We need the benefits. We need the stability that comes with all of those things. So, welcome back to Launch Your Business Live, where we make making money online clear. We're going to make it simple and successful. So, you can build wealth, you can build independence and work from home and turn that part-time business into your full-time income. Now, my name is Marianne Lombardi, and I'm the founder and CEO of Marianne Lombardi Coaching. I'm an author, a former educator, and the single parent of the coolest kid on the planet. Now, I've been helping small business owners thrive for 20 plus years, and my mission is do the same for you. So let's talk about this. So, most of the conversation that's focused on work life balance, and specifically women in this conversation about work life balance, is, well, frustrating because it either focuses on how to create more policies that support women and working mothers, which is great, right? Like flexible work arrangements, better family leave, equal pay, all those kind of things. And these are all great things which will make, hopefully, because a lot of them aren't really great so far, but they will make work much better for women, for caregivers. There's no doubt about that. And they need to happen, but change at a system level like that is slow. And even if the policies change, leadership has to model them, right? So if not, the social pressure and the management pressure is still going to be the same no matter what the policies are. So that's one side of how the conversation goes. Or the other side of the conversation is focusing on teaching women how to improve their time management or get better at boundaries or do more self-care. And again, all of these things are great things to improve on, but they don't take into consideration all the things that are out of our control, the things that don't care about our boundaries, like our bosses with deadlines. They don't care about our time management, right? They don't care about our self care, like our kids, right? Because they need to be fed and bathed. I'm not saying our kids are assholes. I'm just saying that, kids need to be fed and they need to be bathed. So even phrases like work life balance just don't make sense when you think about it, because this work life balance thing is a myth. We just have a life, right? Like we have a life. That's it. How we choose to live that life is what's going to matter. And our life is this big container for everything that's going to come in and out of that thing. Everything else is there to serve that life. And that's not the way we think about it. We think about this work tends to kind of overpower the life, right? But we get to determine what things are going to support that life and what's going to get in the way of that life. We actually have more power than we think we do. And so our work really, whether it's a business or a job or whatever it is, it's there to support that life. It has a big role to play because it often is that primary financial contributor to that life, but it also can provide us meaning, value, inspiration, whatever it is. No matter what it provides, it is a contributor to the container that of your life. It isn't your life, right? And we forget that and so our job is designed, our work is designed to support that life. So the big question is, what is the life, right? It's what do you want? What do you love? What do you want to see when you wake up in the morning? How do you want to feel? What do you want, or what do you want to not regret at the end of your life? Like when you sit down at the end of the day with yourself and the people you love, what do you want to be focused on? Do you want to be thinking about what's happening next, tomorrow, and all the shit you have to do? Or do you want to be focused on the people in front of you? So this Memorial Day weekend or something like that, on a recent serious promotion I heard on the radio, I heard this teacher say that she gives all of herself to the kids that she teaches throughout the school year and how excited that she was for the summer to give herself to her own kids. And I'm sitting in the car and I start crying. Now, I'm sure that's not what the promo intended for me to do, but it was my reaction because all I could think about was the fact that like our time with our kids is just like flying by, right? Like it passes so fast. And when we're in the middle of it, like passing, right? Trying to meet all the demands of on our time and our energy and our work, sometimes we forget how fast it's going, and then we turn around and we're like, what shit, look what just happened, our kid is, grown up and doesn't need us in the same way, and all this kind of stuff, or they go to college like mine. And so one study found that two-thirds of parents admit that their biggest regret is not spending enough time with their kids when they're young. Like, I'm in that group. Right, when I was when my kid was, like, between 6 months and 3 years about, I was so consumed with work, with grad school, with the stress in my marriage, with parenting duties that I just wasn't present, and I felt numb a lot of the time, and I absolutely regret that. And in the end, that fueled me to build a new life that didn't sacrifice my life to the altar of the work. And I am thankful for that, but I'm never going to get that time back, right? Like I'm never going to get that time back. So here's my point. Striving for work-life balance misses the point. The point is, what kind of life do you want? How does your work support you to build that life? Now, you may think that jumping into a corporate job seems like the only solution to your stress, to your desire for flexibility, and to your need for security. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the stress. If you jump into a corporate job, just like every other career coach is telling you to do, there is no guarantee that you won't jump from one stressful situation, the one that you're just leaving in order to get out of, into another and be burned out again in like what, 6 months. Let's talk about that flexibility thing, right? Remote jobs often indicate a level of flexibility. But remote corporate jobs are super competitive, right? There's no guarantee that the remote job will actually provide you that flexibility you're looking for. And the Washington Post reported that 50% of job applications that are submitted on LinkedIn are for these work from home positions, right? Like remote positions. But they only make up just 15% of the job listing. So it's wicked competitive. And now let's talk about security. Let's just be real about security for a second. It is worth thinking about the fact what security means to you, because there's no doubt that teaching is one of the most secure professions. Okay. But if the job, that profession, that secure profession, is impacting your physical and mental health negatively, and it's negatively affecting your relationships with the people that you love, what is that security worth? Right? Is it worth it to be in that secure job? And if you can afford to cover your benefits and more, right, with the money that you're making, say from a side business, through investments, by being on your partner's plan or whatever other ways, is that perceived security worth the burnout that comes with it? Now, I'm not sitting here saying that all corporate jobs are bad and you should never go into a corporate. That's not my point. But I do think that we need to make more informed choices about our work based on what we want, what we don't want, and what we need, and not based on what everybody else is doing. Now, here are a couple steps that you can take before jumping into that new job to make sure that it doesn't take over your life. Number one, do an after action review on your teaching career to know what worked and what didn't. I don't know if you've ever done one of these after action reviews, but they're awesome, right? An after action review is done for the purpose of like debriefing on a project or an activity. In this case, use it as a debrief on your career, right? The intent is to help a team or person understand what happened, right? What took place, what worked, what didn't, why, and how to improve on it. So do one of those for your career. And if you need help with questions for how to do this, DM me. Or let me know in the comments or something like that, because I'm happy to send you some questions to help you work through what would doing an after action look like. Now, number two, after you do your after action, I want you to ask yourself, sit down, ask yourself and write it down. What do you want your life to look like? How do you want your work to serve that life? Think about it and write it down. What about your life is not working? What about your life is working? How do you want to improve? When you wake up in the morning, how do you want to feel? And again, if you need help with this, I have a visioning sheet that I can send you that walks you through a bunch of these kind of questions to help you really think through that. So again, just DM me or reach out in the comments and we will absolutely send that to you. Number 3 is to breathe. I know that sounds obvious, but I'm just going to say it. Breathe. Give yourself the mental space and time to do that after action report, to write down how you want your work to serve your life and to absorb that info, right? Think about it, write it down, absorb it. Give yourself that space and that time to figure it out before you jump into a new environment. I've seen so many teachers who are jumping from one right into the other, right? And they're still consumed with all of the stress, all of the stuff that's been happening in the classroom, that it's very hard to jump right into a new opportunity. Next, number 4 is I want you to interrogate that next work environment to make sure that it actually solves the problem that you are looking to solve by leaving your teaching job. Okay. Because again, you don't want to jump into something that's just going to put you in the same position you were in. Make sure that that new job, it serves the life that you want to live. Don't assume anything. Don't assume that just because it's a remote position that it's going to provide you the flexibility that you want. Make sure, right? Ask good questions and be willing to say no to jobs that aren't going to serve you. And number 5, I'm going to put this out there. Think about getting a part-time job in the meantime if you need to. And I'm talking about something that like requires low responsibility and low emotional investment, right? Work at a bookstore or as a barista, something you think would be fun while you're figuring this out, but that doesn't require an enormous amount from you. Okay? That gives you some space to think through these things. And number 6, start a part-time business, right? Like use your expertise or personal experience to help other people. This way you can create a work from home job for yourself and make more money, okay? So there's just 6 things that you can do as you're preparing for this transition. So take the time to figure out what you want your life to look like, to be like, and to feel like, so you can empower yourself to design your work to suit that life. And if you need help with that part-time business, obviously you know where to look. Like, come look me up. Let's talk about it. But you don't have to, right? Like, I'm not here saying that the solution for everybody is to have a part-time business. If you don't want that, that's fine, right? But think about it so you can know, so you can make an informed decision. Don't just do what everybody else is doing. I may say, hey, you should start a part-time business. If you're like, I've thought about it, I don't think it's right for me, I don't want to do it, rock on, right? It's the same way with the corporate stuff. If you go into that process going, yes, this is what I want, but this is what I don't want. So when you're bombarded or you're not finding jobs, you know how to respond to that. Okay. Remember, your work is there to serve the life that you want to live. Now, if you need any help with those, sheets for the action after action or for the visioning, please let me know. And we'll see you next week.